Plum in the Golden Base Chongzhen edition of Embroidered Portraits Chapter 83. Kyu-ju expresses her feelings with hatred. Chun Mei sends a message to Cambodia for a harmonious party. The poem says, "Such love is rare in ancient times, and I lament that all good things will end badly." Her eyes were filled with tears from the west wind, still flying towards the balcony like rain. The moon waxes and wanes, and people have joys and sorrows and partings, holding the stove and whispering to ghosts and gods. I can only tell you about the good times. It is said that when Pan Jinlian saw Chen Jingji crossing the wall at dawn, she felt regretful. The next day was July 15th, and Wu Yunyang went to Ansu and Dazang Nunnery in a sedan chair to celebrate the burning of the Ulan Festival box storehouse for Ximen. Everyone in Jinlian sent Yunyang to the front gate. When they came back, Meng Yulu, Sun Zui, and the eldest sister all went to the back. Du Jinlian lagged behind and walked to the front door of the front hall. She met Jingji, who was upstairs at Li Pingera's side, looking for clothes from the dungeon and carrying them out. Jinlian stopped and said to him, "I told you a few words yesterday. How did you make Xing'er jump out this morning? Could it be that you are just with me?" Jingji said. "You old man," still said, "one night who did you come to sleep with? You almost troubled me to death all night. And you see the flesh on my face." The woman scolded, "The thief has a short life, and he is not the same as him. Why are you leaving in vain?" Jingji said, "It is clear that the sky will not come, and no one will see it. Who has anything to do with him?" Jinlian said, "If there is no such thing, come back tonight. I'll ask you later." Jingji said, "I'm sorry for you. Who can sleep here all night?" The woman said, "If you don't go, I'll settle the score with you." After saying that, the woman went back to her room. Jingji took the clothes to the shop, did some business, returned to the side room, and slept on the bed. "I hope it will get late and I will go to Jinlian." Unexpectedly, at dusk, the sky turned dark and it started to rain outside the window. Exactly, it rains at dusk in the Xiao Xiao courtyard, and the little banana trees make no sound. Seeing that the rain was falling hard, Jingji said, "What a beautiful day. He just taught me how to testify. I don't want it to rain again today. It's so boring." So he waited for a long time and then waited for a short time. The rain couldn't stop, and it continued to rain until the first watch, with water flowing on the eaves. The young man couldn't wait for the rain to stop, so he lay down on his bed with a crimson blanket. When Wu Yunyang came home at that time, the eldest sister and Yuang Shuer were behind and did not come out. So I locked the door, walked into the garden through the heavy rain from the west corner door, and pushed the corner door. The woman knew that he would come tonight, so she had already told Chun Mai to drink Kyu-ju for a few minutes, and then she slept with him in the Kang room, keeping the corner door ajar. Jingji pushed open the corner door and walked in. Entering the woman's bedroom, she saw that the gauze room was half open. The silver candle was burning high, the wine and fruit were stale on the table, and the golden statue was full. The two sat side by side with their legs folded. The woman then asked, "You have never had any affair with Ming Sanar. How did you get this hairpin?" Jingji said, "I picked it up under the tea rack in the garden yesterday. If I coax you, it will lead to death." Ashes. The woman said, "Since that's not the case, I still want to keep this hairpin with you." "I don't want it. Just keep my hairpin, sachet, and handkerchief with you. I'm missing one thing. Jin will talk to you." The two of them drank wine and played chess before going to bed at midnight. I was so confused that I went crazy all night long. The woman gave all the romance she had with Simon King to her lover, but Kyu-ju was in the room over there, and suddenly she heard a man's voice speaking in the room over there, and she didn't know which one it was. At dawn when the rooster crows, Kyu-ju gets up to urinate. Suddenly she hears the door open in the room over there, in the dim moonlight, and the rain has not stopped. She opens the window and sees a person wearing a red bed sheet leaving the room, just like brother-in-law Chen. "It turns out that he sleeps with my mother every night. My mother knows how to keep clean and raise her son-in-law in secret." The next day, he walked to the kitchen behind and said this to Xiao Yu. Not wanting Xiao Yu and Chun Mai to get along well, she told Chun Mai, "Kyu-ju said that your mother raised brother-in-law Chen. She slept in the room all night yesterday and went out this morning." The eldest girl and Yuing Xiao didn't sleep in front. This spring, Mei Guifeng 1510 said to the woman, "If you don't give this slave a few beatings, You will teach him to lie and open his mouth to ruin his master." After hearing this, Jin Lian was furious and asked Ju to kneel in front of her and cursed. "I'm teaching you how to cook porridge, so I broke the pot. You dare to have a big butt? What's the matter? I haven't beaten you, slave, in the past few days. My bones are itching." So I took a stick and hit him on his back. He whipped her 30 times as hard as she could, until Ju screamed like she was killing a pig, and her body was all broken. Chen Mai walked over and said, "Mom, I can't beat him so many times, so I just tickled him." After he was peeled off, I called the boy to come and chop him with a big board as hard as he could 20 or 30 times. See if he was afraid. Aren't you afraid? He's just fighting like a monkey. What's the reason for him being a slave? It's easy to raise a son like you. Ju said. Who said anything? The woman said, "You're just talking. What else can you say about a slave who is trying to destroy the master's family?" After drinking, Ju went to the kitchen. Exactly, mosquitoes are slapped just to hurt people with their mouths. One day, during the Mid-Autumn Festival in August, Jin Lian secretly made an appointment with Jingji to watch the moon, drink wine, and play chess with Chen Mai. Late in the evening, I slept too much until dawn, and I still didn't get up around tea time, which was quite revealing. Not wanting to be noticed by Ju, she quickly walked to the back room and said to Yunyang. Not wanting Yunyang to comb her hair, Xiao Yu was standing at the door of the room. Ju took him aside and told him, "My brother-in-law is like this. He rested in my mother's room yesterday and has not gotten up yet. I sued you the day before yesterday and beat me. Today is true. See, I don't blame him. Please go and take a look." Xiao Yu scolded, "You are here to bury your master with your eyes open. My grandma is combing her hair. Why don't you leave quickly?" Yunyang asked. He said, "What?" Xiao Yu couldn't hide anything and only said, "Wu Niang sent Ju to ask grandma to talk and didn't say anything else." The moon girl combed her hair, moved her lotus steps lightly, and suddenly came to the door of the golden lotus room in front. Chen Mai saw it early and came in first in a panic to retaliate to Jin Lian. Jin Lian and Jingji were still in bed when they heard Yunyang's rival. They were both startled. They hurriedly hid Jingji in the bed and covered it with the edge of a brocade quilt. Teach Chen Mai to put the small table on the bed, take the pearl flowers, and thread them through. After a while, Yunyang came to the room and sat down and said, "Sixth sister, we haven't seen you go out yet. I just want to know what you are doing. You are wearing beads and flowers in the house." She held it in her hand and looked at it, and praised. "And it is well dressed, with sesame flowers on the front, square eyes on both sides, and chrysanthemums round the collar. It is just tied with a concentric knot, and it looks good. Tomorrow, you will also wear a pair of thin hoops for me." When people see Yunyang saying nice things, their hearts stop beating, and they order Chen Mai to pour tea for them to eat with her. After a while, Yunyang had her tea, sat back, and said, "Sixth sister, please comb your hair and sit back." Jin Lian said, "I know," sent Yunyang out, and quickly urged Jingji to leave the board and go forward. Chen Mai and the woman were sweating, and the woman said, "Your aunt has nothing to do if you don't come back. What are you doing here so early in the morning?" Chen Mai said, "On the left and right. This servant of ours is here to talk." After a while, I saw Xiao Yu walking over, saying something like this. Ju went on to say that her brother-in-law slept in this room until dawn, and even after I scolded him twice, he still didn't move. My grandma asked me, but she didn't say anything. She just said that Wu Niang asked grandma to speak and she just came. "You, old man, just keep it in your heart. The adults don't see the faults of the villains. They just keep an eye on the slave." The judge heard that although Yunyang didn't believe Ju's words, she was afraid that the golden lotus girl would lose her husband and become evil over time and become evil. Afraid of spreading the word and being talked about by outsiders, and out of love for his daughter, he did not teach the eldest sister to go out far away. So he moved Li Zhao's wing to live with the eldest sister, and taught him and his wife to move into the ceremonial gate at the back. When Mr. Fu went to his house, Fang taught Jingji to take turns sleeping in a shop, to get clothes and medicinal materials, go in and out with dinner. Every door was locked, and maids and women were not allowed to go outside unless they had anything to do. Everything was tight, and the passionate love between Pan Jinlian and Jingji was blocked. It's true. Good things in the world are often hindered, and the scenery inside does not last long. There is poetry to prove it. I visited Yujin several times on the rooftop, but I could not see the sinking sea among the three mountains. The Hu family became as deep as the sea, and Xiao Lang was a passerby from the Nan. Pan Jinlian and Jingji have not seen each other for more than a month since Ju leaked the news. The golden lotus is hard to bear every day, so how can the embroidered curtains be left alone and cold? And the painting pavilion is desolate, which will harm the eyes by the wood and the heart into the fields. The makeup is uneven, the meal is reduced, the girth is white and faded, the skin is thin and weak, and I just feel sleepy every day, unable to hold my head up. Chunmai said, "Mom, your idle thoughts are useless. Yesterday, the aunt left two girls behind. I heard that the roles were to be announced tonight, and the ceremonial gate behind was closed early. In the evening, I pushed to the stable in front. Get some straw to put on the pillow, and wait until I go to the shop to call him. I finally asked my brother-in-law to meet with my mother. How does my mother feel?" The woman said, "My good sister, if you are willing to see me, I will call him. A kindness is repaid and never forgotten." Chunmai said, "What did Mom say?" "You and I are alone, and Dad is gone. If you go forward tomorrow, I would rather go with Mom. It's still in one place." The woman said, "It's good that you have this intention." In the evening, the woman first went to the back in front of the Moon Mother, pretending to feel uneasy. She used a golden cicada to escape from her shell and returned to the front. The ceremony gate behind Yunyang opened long ago, and the maids and women were let out to listen to the nun's announcement. Jin Lianying and Chunmai said, "Good sister, please hurry up and invite him." Chunmai said, "I'll get that slave Ju first. Drink with him for a few minutes, get him drunk, and then put him in the kitchen. It's time for me to go." Then he sifted 2 large bowls of wine and sent Ju to eat. He took a basket and walked to the front, picked up a basket of grass, and then quietly went to the Yinzi shop. At the head of the door, he called the door in a low voice. At that time, Mr. Fu was not in the shop and went home. Only Jingji was leaning down on the king. Suddenly he saw someone calling the door. The voice was like Chunmai's. He opened the door quickly and saw him. He smiled and said, "It's really the little eldest lady. No one is there. Please sit inside." Chunmai left. After entering the room, he asked, "Where are the boys?" Jingji said, "Dian and Pingan are sleeping in the herbal medicine shop over there. I am alone here, feeling lonely and indifferent." Chunmai said, "My mother has been telling you so many times, saying that you are a good person. In the past few days, you have not even walked to my room. She said that you have another guest, the owner of the door. I don't care about it." Jingji said, "What do you mean? Since I got scared that day, I saw that my aunt had locked the door tightly, so I didn't dare to move." Chunmai said, "My mother has been very upset for you these days. Unhappy, careless, and unmotivated day after day. Lazy to eat and drink. Not busy with work. Today, my aunt left him behind to listen to the announcement, but came here because she was just thinking about you. Baba asked me to come, so I can teach you to go quickly." Jingji said, "I appreciate your kindness so much. Why don't you repay me? You can take a step forward, and I'll go ahead." He opened the cupboard door and took out a white silk scarf and a pair of silver ropes. "Pick a fight with him." Chunmai and I hugged each other, pressed each other on the king, kissed each other and licked our tongues. It was a joyous occasion. Exactly, there is no chance of meeting Ying Ying. So let's go to the matchmaker to clear up the slender. After the 2 plays were over, Chunmai came back to the room first with grass, and said to the woman, "Brother-in-law, I called him, and he came. He didn't like it when he saw me, and he got along with me again. A sweat towel, a pair of silver teeth." The woman called Chunmai, "You are watching from the outside, just afraid that he will come." It turned out that that day was the 123rd of September, and the moon was shining brightly. Chen Jingji went to the herbal medicine shop and called Anner to come over. He just pushed Yunong to tell him to listen to the announcement, and went straight to the back. Because the front garden door is closed, opened the back corner door and walked to the golden lotus side, shaking the wooden golden flower as a sign. Chen Mai quickly responded and introduced her into the room. The woman greeted the door and then smiled and cursed. Thieves are short-lived, and good people don't come in for a walk. Jingji said, I'm eager to come. I'm afraid I'll cause trouble and bring trouble to you, old man. I'm sorry. With that said, the two of them entered the room hand in hand and sat down. Chen Mai closed the corner door, put a table in the room, and put wine and food on it. The woman and Jingji sat side by side with their legs folded, with spring plum blossoms spread horizontally. They poured out the wine, exchanged cups for cups, and ate once while leaning against the greenery and red flowers. As the wine got stronger, the woman's delicate eyes were slanted, and the dark clouds were half hidden. She took out the Xiamen King's sex device bag, which contained the Xiamen King's sex device, the trembling Zhao, the silver holder, and the Mayan Ling Yi Nonger sex device. When Jingji was taught, the woman lay naked on a drunkard's chair under the shadow of a lamp. Jingji also took off his clothes and took out his 24 interpretations of Chunyi, put it under the lamp, and acted accordingly. The woman called Chen Mai, you are pushing your brother-in-law from behind. I'm afraid he is tired. Chen Mai was really pushing from behind. Jingji's words were inserted into the woman's vagina, and he was thrusting back and forth. It was very smooth and beautiful. All words, not wanting Qiuju to cook in the back. She woke up in the middle of the night to wash her hands, only to find that the door was locked upside down and could not be pushed open. So he stretched out his hand, pushed aside the bird hangings, crept under the big moon, and walked under the window of the front room. Opening the window and looking in, I saw bright lights and candles in the room. 3 people were drunk and all naked. They were doing a good job. The two sat opposite each other. Chen Mai pushed the cart behind her, and the 3 of them sat together. But see, one doesn't care about her husband's status as master, while the other cares about the superiority and inferiority. On one chair, the mood is expressed in the rain, while in the other ear, the vows of eternal love are said. A widow's house is turned into a happy ashram, and the front of a mother-in-law's house is turned into a world of filth. One gave all Xiamen King's pillow love to his beloved son-in-law, and the other gave all Han Shu's secret tricks to his mistress. Exactly, written as a book that will never end in this life. It will bring joy in the next life. Qiuju saw it in her eyes, but said nothing, thinking to herself, they were still saying they wanted to beat me in front of others, but today I really saw it. When I tell my aunt tomorrow, could it be that they are trying to trick me and open their mouths? So he looked at it with great joy, and still went to sleep in the kitchen. The 3 of them stayed awake until the 3rd watch. Chen Mai got up before dawn and walked to the kitchen. When she saw the kitchen door opened, she asked Qiuju. Qiuju said, what are you talking about? I need to urinate urgently. Where can I drown? I unplug the bird hanger and go out to the yard to drown. Chen Mai said, I have become a slave, and there is a scorpion in the house. No, Qiuju said, I didn't know Zhuzi was in the house. The 2 people behind were noisy. Jingji got up early and went to the front. Exactly, with both hands, he split the path of life and death, and jumped out of the door of right and wrong. The woman then asked Chen Mai, what's going on behind there? Chen Mai was like this and told Qiuju that she had opened the door at night. The woman became angry and wanted to beat Qiuju. This Qiuju came back early in the morning to report to Yunyang. Yunyang yelled at her and scolded her, you are a slave who is cheating on your master. He came here the day before yesterday and reported something light and serious, saying that his master was harboring brother-in-law Chen. In the room, he slept until dawn and stayed up until dawn. His master was setting the king table on the bed and wearing beads and flowers. How about brother-in-law Chen coming from behind? He was just a slave who was playing tricks on his master. An adult puts the candy in the house, no matter where it is placed. Is it possible that you don't care about it? If you know, you, the slave, will destroy the master. The man King Pingdai wants is much stronger, and the wives are all confused. It seems that there is something very wrong with my child, so he wanted to beat Qiuju. Qiuju was so frightened that she ran forward as fast as flying, not daring to come back to talk anymore. When the woman heard that Yunyang drank Qiuju, she didn't believe it, and she became more and more bold. Sister Xiamen heard this and interrogated Jingji secretly. Jingji said, do you believe that slave who is sweating? I saw you sleeping in the shop yesterday. When did you go to the garden? The garden door is closed all day long. The eldest sister scolded. You thief, don't if you want to talk about it. If you have any trouble and get into my ears, you will believe me and take off your clothes. You will never be in this house again. Jingqi said, right and wrong are always there, and you don't listen to nature. No, the aunt didn't believe him. You can just say it like this, the eldest sister said. Unexpectedly, the man's heart is as light as cotton wool, but his concubine's mind is as chaotic as silk.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.